Shameless plug. What? No, not your graph paper's not named shameless plug. Today your lesson is solving word problems. But the shameless plug is game club today. We're going to learn another new game that I actually have 3 copies of. It's called Set, and it's a speed-based card game. Anybody can learn it, I guarantee, and it only takes about 20 seconds to learn it. So if anyone's interested in coming to game club and you haven't yet, you should come. Yes, it's the card game if you played it before with the ovals and the squigglies that look like mustaches and the diamonds.
Shameless plug for myself. Show Choir Club is today at Extensions at the family room, so don't expect, if you didn't sign up, to come. I will probably have the seats for a lot of you if you come if you haven't signed up.
We can help you make copies. Yeah. All right. So there's Science Fair Friday. We don't have class. Sure. That looks like you're going to go fast. Yes. You're going to move your arms really fast. So it makes you look good.
Why don't we have class Friday?
What do you have on Friday?
Oh.
And now, I might keep this. I might keep this as a last thing on our start slide. Guys, I really want to encourage you to start, really seizing your fragments of time and using them. Because quarter 3 is busy, and I think all of you have experienced that already. Notice that tomorrow's homework is already up here. If you want to grab future homeworks and work ahead, you can. But you'll notice on that homework it uses stuff we learned today, so you'll need what we do today. But right now, you don't need your resource page yet. You just need to be with me. We are going to help out our local church. Right? So they want to, actually, this is a middle school. I thought this was a church problem. But whatever you think the building is, church, middle school, whatever, they want to put a fence around their basketball court. Right, Toby? Yeah. They're tired of chasing the basketballs off the court and into the wherever, like other people's yards. So they're trying to figure out how exactly they can do this. Now, the first thing I need you to be aware of is gates do not count as fencing. You buy a gate separate. So where they're going to have a gate, that doesn't count as fence. So the parent club at Post Falls Middle School needs 183 feet of fencing to go around the regular outdoor. None of that actually matters. So it's a rectangle, right? 183 feet, it's a rectangle. However, when we fence this basketball court, random card, Sarah, when we fence this basketball court, are we going to need to fence all 4 sides? No. Ooh, why? Sarah, because what? It's attached to the school. So this side isn't going to need fence, right? So we have this side, this long part, and then this side that's going to involve a gate, right? Okay, so let's read on. The club volunteers only need to place a fence on 3 sides of the court because the wall of the gym will form the 4th side. Sweet. The length of the court, is 32 feet more than the width. Go ahead and write down the length is 32 more than the width, or if you could write down an algebraic expression to write that, using letters and numbers and symbols. Can anyone tell me how we could write that in an algebraic expression using letters and symbols and numbers? Toby?
L equals 32 more than the width.
How do we write 32 more than the width? W plus 32. We want to, when we see the phrase 32 more than tells us added on to something. And then it tells us that something is the width. Questions on how we wrote that? The length is 32 more than, so it should be W plus 32. Sorry, it's written kind of weird there, but yeah. Is addition commutative? Can we change the order? Yes, so it doesn't technically matter, but more than technically means added on to something. So that's something we would normally write first. And then one of the shorter sides will be 5 feet shorter than the other to leave room for the gate. So our purple side, if it's not the whole width, it's 5 feet shorter because this gate is 5 feet. Yeah, but the gate, you literally have to buy gates separately because they're built differently. They have to be built really strong so they don't sag, which is actually what it's called when something that should be square sags and then it drags on the ground, or when it it's called sagging when something gets loose and it changes size. So if we call this W, right? Didn't we call this W the width? So I'm going to write that not in the highlighter. What would we call this section of the fence then?
The W minus the 8.
5 feet shorter than the other one. The other one is the width. So this is W minus 5. Right? Work with your team to figure out the total amount of fencing on each side, knowing that the total amount of fencing total that they buy, not counting the gate, is 183 feet. You have 5 minutes. Go for it.
So the width is 32 more. So where's the rest of the school?
Like it's a small school.
The basketball court is 2 times bigger.
How long is each section of fence? So how long is the blue part? How long is the green part? And how long is the purple part? Not counting the gate. So actually, I'm going to go erase that little dot here. So guys, again, you're trying to figure out how long is the blue part, how long is the green part, and how long is this purple part to use up all 183 feet of fencing. It's a rectangular court. You don't have to cover all 4 sides. We're still making a rectangle. We just use the school on one side. We don't need to fence this because the ball just bounces off the school and comes back. I mean, think about our basketball court on the back of the school. We would only fence 3 sides of it because the other side faces the school.
All we have to do is just go declare bankruptcy. All the
Who thinks W's 10? Who thinks W should probably be more than 10? Who thinks W's 1,000? So less than 1,000? What about if W's like 100? What about if W's like 50? Maybe. Yeah. And actually, if we're just thinking about what makes sense, like width of a basketball court, right? Like 50 feet, maybe. But remember, this isn't necessarily like regulation or anything like that. So, if we wanted to just try to start guessing. Did anyone solve this? Anyone have a technique for something? I got people asking like what color of fence and what type. Like I got silly questions happening. That's why I tried to pull us all back together. Nick, you want to figure it out?
I think
Really?
Couldn't you, like, I feel like you would have to kind of just substitute numbers to see if it works.
So if we sub in like 100, right? This would be like 100. This would be 95, and this would be like 132, which is gonna be too much. Now, so hold on. Let's try a technique for this. Let's not extend page. I probably didn't cut the right thing. So we have 3 sides, right? We have 3 sides. We have the length, which is what?
W minus 32.
W plus 32, right? We have the one width. I'm going to call that width sub 1. And then width sub 2, because we have 2 different widths. Right? This we called our W, but then this one we called W minus 5. Now we're saying all of these together equal 183. Well, let's be smart about this. We've defined 3 sides, right? Come over here, front of your resource page. In the define space, here's the biggest thing people are going to mess up. We're going to split this. We're going to split your define space into 3 sections. We have side 1, side 2, and side 3, which we have called W plus 32, W, and W minus 5. Now, once we get into this, side 1, side 2, side 3, just we have 3 sides. You can actually define it as whatever you want. Now, we actually can then start plugging in guess check options. I may have had you write this in the wrong place. I'm double checking. I'm honest with you guys. I am double checking. Because once we learn the 5D process, we then stop using it. Because then we know like how to use it without setting it up. Yeah, no, that's right. So, that's what we've defined. But here's the problem. When we do this, other questions?
Those go in trial 1?
Yeah, well, so here's the thing. Our trials, give me your eyes. This is why I was afraid about giving you the resource paper instead of just us making this on graph paper. The trials is going to be us doing guess check. Now, here's the issue with how I set this up based off our side 1, side 2, side 3. Variable and a number. Variable and a number. Just variable. We would rather, and it doesn't matter, like, you probably should change this on here. We'd rather say W and then W plus 32 and then W minus 5. Because it's easier for us to just start with just the variable. This, it doesn't matter where you write it. This is just us doing it together in class. So if you wrote this in trial 1, that's fine. But the trials are going to be us guessing a number. So really our first trial, quote unquote, Lily, is guessing a fence length, which I kept saying, like, what if our fence was 100? Well, then this would be 132, and this would be 95 in the do space. What are we supposed to do? What are we trying to make happen here? Add to what?
Wherever it is. I don't even know.
We're supposed to add them up, right? So in the do, we add up all 3. So 100 plus 132 plus 95. This is in your do space. And in our decide space, is it 183? Like, that's what we're deciding. Is it what we want? Are we too high or too low? Too high. So what do we do with our guess? Go lower. Araya, what do you want to guess next? If we go lower than 100, should we just go to 99 or should we move a little further than that? You want to try a guess? 50? Okay. If we try 50, that's our next trial. So then this would be 82, and then this would be 45. And we add them. 50, 82, 45. That equals 95 plus 82 is 1. 70.
17. Wow. How come we didn't add up the last one?
No, it's 170.
177.
Sorry, we just knew it was way too big. We could have added it and said this was actually 300. Yeah, that was 327. Sorry, so this one, we too high, too low? Too low by a lot or a little? Just a tiny bit too low. Mirabelle?
Oh, I think it's 52.
So what if we go up just a scotch? Right? Just a scotch, a wee bit, a smidge. And we go to 52. So then this becomes 84. And this becomes 47. This is why I told you to grab a calculator. 52 plus 84 plus 47, kind of awkward.
I already have it.
Mirabelle,
183.
183. And like the three little bears. And who was it that went into the Goldilocks? Look, don't judge me. Like Goldilocks, on the third try, we got it just right. Or am I mixing stories? Isn't Goldilocks, the first one's too firm, and the second one's too soft, and then it's too hot and it's too cold?
And then she goes into the bed.
Okay, well, too high, too low, just right.
Yeah, it's the porch, the chairs, then the bed.
So guys,
Too soft, too hard.
Hey, come with me while I get on a soapbox for a moment. And if you don't know what that means, infer based off what happens. There for a long time, and your parents got stuck in this too, has been this huge focus on getting the right answer. Which, yeah, of course, in the end, we want the right answer. But the way we get there doesn't need to be scary. We can guess an answer that might be able to work, as long as it's not like outlandish, right? When I said 1,000, you're all like, oh god, he's lost his mind. Guess something that's close, test it, and go back and modify. So on your green paper, that's not the green paper, and that's not the... At the very top where it says, the 5D process is.
Magic.
I want you to write whatever makes sense in your head to define what the 5D process is. Really, it's a guess, check, modify process. We guess something, we check, is it good, is it true, is it what we want, and then we modify our guess and try again. Everybody should be writing on their green paper a definition for the 5D process. It's a guess, check, modify process that we use to just, not be scared of solving these problems. We tried 100, it was way too big. We tried 50, it was just too small. We tried 52 and it worked. It's magic. Now, for those of you that like actual definitions, the 5D process right here. So we can all talk about what everyone writes and catches up. The important words or like relationships or anything, we identify those, right? We're going to highlight, we're going to underline, we're going to do something to identify what's important. We then, now this is optional, but we do something to represent it. You don't have to draw a picture, but a lot of times it can help. So like on the problem we just did, a nice picture that could have helped would have just been, like W plus 32, W minus 5, and then the gate, right? So like this was everything we were trying to do. Sorry, so there's our school. We don't need this. So if we drew a picture, we could have done that. But what I care more about are these algebraic expressions. And guys, they're only called algebraic because they involve a letter. They involve a variable. Right? So that makes it algebraic. Don't be scared of it. It's just a fancy word that mathematicians use. That's what we care more about. And those go in that define space. So define, I should have eyes up here because this is what kids mess up. Trust me, last year, like this is why I'm changing my teaching. The notes I have from last year is like, emphasize splitting this space up. However many things you have, there we had 3 sides of the fence, you split up your defined space. Okay, and that's where we're going to define and plug things in, right? We're going to guess something, and then we're going to plug in the other values based off that. Then we do whatever we're trying to do, 183 feet total, that's what we were trying. And then, did we get it? Or are we too high, too low? Don't just say no. I have people not paying attention. Don't just say no. You say too high or too low. Okay, so, we all ready to try this on our own?
Yes.
On your green paper is this situation. So that you can underline and write out whatever you want. Then flip your white paper. Flip your white paper. I'm trying to be nice. I have split up A for you. I split it into van and car in the defined space. B, though, you got to decide what to do with the B part right here. Okay? Take at least 5 minutes. I promise I won't talk. Raise your hand if you have questions. Oh, yeah, work with your team. Work with your partners. So you want to first highlight, underline, whatever, to identify the important stuff in the problem. Huh? Then you probably did algebra, but I'd like you to try the 5D process. Hey, notice those 3 bullet points? You can write the important information next to those 3 bullet points. Notice those 3 bullet points. You can write the important information next to those. On the white resource page.
Are we doing this one?
Yeah, you're doing the van car problem, and then you're doing Ryan's number problem.
Are we doing it on this?
So if it equals 40.
Yeah, like those are yours. We're doing it there.
So like let's try 10. 10 plus 17 is 27. 27 plus 10. So we're only so 10 was off by 4 units. So 2. Yeah, that's so like let's try 12.
If you solve A, move on to B.
I did 10, and then that was too low, and then I did.
Trying very hard to not
And then I
talk.
did 12, and then that got 1.
Yes. Yes.
Too low. And then when you I did 12 plus 29.
So, I'm first going to help you from up here, though. Who even asked for that? Okay, so the first thing you want to do, on your paper probably is going to be underline, but for me it's going to be highlight because that's easier up here. Underline or highlight the important stuff, and you can ignore me right now, by the way. I'm helping whoever needs help, but if you don't need my help, ignore me. So, she owns a blue van, red truck. Great, fine, whatever. Blue van, I'll highlight blue. Van. She has owned the truck. She's owned the truck 17 years longer than she's owned the van. So in my bullet point area of like things I know, the truck is 17 older than van. Sorry, this is hard to write this small, but the truck is 17 older than the van. So we could say T equals V plus 17. Right? The truck is 17 years older than the van. So truck is van plus 17. Everybody should have that written down. If you don't yet, do it now. And what's the other thing we know here, Morgan? Aside from the truck being older, what else do we know? Yeah, the sum, the total amount is 41. So then we would write that down also. V plus T is 41, right? Van plus truck. We know that. So our define. Well, do we need an expression for van that has any other numbers, or can we just put V? Something up here needs to just have a single variable. For the 5D process to work, you gotta reference a single variable. And then we modify that variable. So the truck, what did we say for the truck? V plus 17, right? We said the truck is V plus 17. Everybody's paper should have V and V plus 17. Now really, I should have bumped these down a tiny bit. Like these trial 1, trial 2, whatever should go down. Because when we're defining those variables and writing that like this stuff in, that's not really a trial. But yeah, we could have put like the V and the V plus 17, totally fine. However you want to set this up. But then, should I try an age of like 30 for the van? No, that's a little high, right? Try whatever you think on your paper. Correct. So I tried 10 too low. I tried 20 too high. I was going to try 15, but I thought through it and I was like, I think it's still too high. So I tried 14 instead. It's still too high. Aurea? You think it's 12? So, I mean, since 14 was too high, 12 seems like a good idea. Add 17 to that. It's 29. Ooh, this looks like it's going to work. 12 plus 29 equals 41. We got it. More?
Who has a 29-year-old truck?
My father-in-law's truck is older than that. He's got a semi-truck that he's had for longer than I've been alive. Cool. I mean, if you take care of it, it has over 1 million miles on it, literally, because he drives semi-truck. Think of how many miles semi-trucks put on them. If you take care of it, it'll keep going. My vehicle that I feel like is new, like it's still like I like my vehicle, it's 10 years old. Like, vehicles don't break down if you take care of them. Alright, does this make sense? It's just like a guess check modified. Now, hold up. To those of you, like Mirabelle, that are asking, do I have to do this? No. It's just a strategy. So this is another tool in your toolbox that you might like to use more than somebody else likes to use it. Right? Now, I don't know how many of you have actually used tools, but seriously, like, you might want to use a hammer and a nail, and I might decide to use a screwdriver and a screw. I'm like, that's okay. We can both attach something to the wall. We just do it differently. This is a strategy. The other way we could solve this, hey guys, stay with me for like 10 seconds. The other way we could solve this is straight up algebra. So if you go home, and ask parents for help, or you show this to like an older sibling, like years older, past couple years, they would know this. This will seem confusing to them because they're like, why are you doing a guess check, get the wrong answer method? Like, that's dumb. Just solve the problem. They don't know this strategy. This is to help your brain. If you're not listening to me, please listen to me. This is to help your brain make sense of math problems. So if I were to ask you, how many pennies would it take us to cover this floor? We would know 100 is too small, right? We could make a guess that we know is too small. We could know that 1 billion is probably too big. A million, it might take a million. Like, we would need to start to gather some information to be able to solve that. But like, that might be a situation where we need to use a guess check method. And I'm actually doing an activity with my Math 8 class, like your friends that are in Math 8, about how many pennies fit in a circle. That is effectively going to use this method. So please know you don't have to use this method, but I want you to know how to use it. So with part B, if you haven't done it yet, do it. Ryan's thinking of a number. When he multiplies his number by 6 and then subtracts 15 from the answer, he ends up with the original number. So I'm going to call his number N, just to make life easy. My friend Ryan is in Florida. I'm mad about it.
Sue him.
Why are you mad about it?
Because I'm not there.
Well, did you see what like 100 vacation is?
Yeah, but I can't take him. I got to be here and teach you guys.
Take us with you, and you can teach us while we do stuff.
Teach on the beach. So if we multiply the number by 6. So wait. If we multiply the number by 6 and subtract 15, we get what? We get N? So what we know, the do that we have here is C does 6N minus 15 equal N, the original thing we could start with. Morgan? 3, okay. So if Ryan's number is 3, then 6 times 3. What is 6 times 3? 18. Oh, Morgan. You didn't let us use this process. You just got us there in the first trial. So if we had guessed, I don't know, let's say 1.
32.
6 times 1 minus 15, that equals -9. Too low. If we guessed, I don't know, like 10. 6 times 10 minus 15 is 45. This is too high. So then Morgan decides to guess 3, and she gets it. Or Morgan's just really smart and she decided what number minus 15 gets back to a number close to, like, you can kind of think through it in your head depending on how good your mental math skills are. Which, like, no judgment, no, like, everybody has their own strengths and weaknesses. So Morgan was able to say, like, okay, 6 times something minus 15, it's got to be a smaller number, right? Because if you go bigger number, like 10, like 6 times 10 minus 15, you get a really big number. There's, like, the resulting number is going to end up bigger than the start number. But any number less than 3, the resulting number ends up less than the start number. And if you tried, like, 0, what would 0 get us here? -15, because 0 would make that 0, and then minus 15 is -15. Questions about this process? Yeah. Oh, you'll know about that at form. Go back to your green paper. where you have space between or below 109A.
Wait, Lily. Why is there a what?
Hey guys, remember time and place and like appropriateness and things like that? That has nothing to do with math right now. It is something that Charlie is going to share at forum eventually. Alright, so check this out. The other way we can do this. We said the truck is van plus 17. Truck is van plus 17. On your green paper, please write that down. T is v plus 17. And we know van plus truck equals 41. This is the non-5D process way of doing this. I know what T is in terms of V, meaning I have an expression involving V that I could replace T with. So if I do that, I have V plus 17. Now, if you are algebraically minded, you'll like this method better. Because this is very sensible. This is what your parents are going to want you to do. Is write out an equation and solve it once, getting the answer. So, are you cool with how I replaced T with V plus 17? Are we all okay with, because we know T is this. Molly, you okay? Are you just laughing about your parents wanting you to do math or something like that, or what?
No.
So,
Something else.
Molly, how many V's do I have total on the left side now? It's okay if you don't have this written down. Just look up here. I have V and V plus 17. 2! Right, so I have 2V plus 17 equals 41. I now get rid of this 17 because I don't care about the 17. I care about the V's. I get that 2V is 24? Yeah, 41 minus, or 40 minus 16. Yeah, because if I take the 40 minus 16, it's the same math. And then what times 2 is 24? 12. The same answer we just got. So again, we're working vertically. So, we will, I got a lot of eyes not on me, we will get to the point where we have to do it this way. If this way doesn't make sense to you, use the 5D process. But if you dislike the 5D process and you can do it this way and it makes sense, that's fine. And some of you thought through this. You were like, okay, well, we have a vehicle and we have another vehicle, and then we have 17 years. And if we, you can think through it, but it helps if we write it out algebraically. Any remaining preguntas? That is all of our class time. Get out of here. Have I ever what? No, never, ever, ever. Why would you climb Mount Everest? It's like asking to die, and now it's closed down.
What?
They closed it. Too many people died.
Oh yeah, that makes people.
Here, let's look.
No!
Can I go climb Everest?
Wait, Miss Hodgson, so you can't climb it ever again?
Oh, I mean, I'm probably reopening.
Wait, has anybody come up and came back down a lot?
I thought, yeah, a lot of people do, but I could be wrong. I thought they'd stopped taking expeditions up Everest, but I could be wrong. Guys, it takes about 2 months in total to climb Everest.
Where?
Yeah.